Hello everyone, and thanks for being here. It's finally Friday, and that's always a perfect way to start off a program. As is, thank you so much for tuning in and spending a little time with us. This time it's on the 6th day of February, where we're building up to a Saturday and a first half of your weekend where some folks in the eastern Kentucky region might actually get in on the 60-degree mark. Most everyone going to see the 50s and some sunshine, kind of short-lived, at least for the latter half of your weekend. We'll talk about everything thereafter, but all in all, really nice forecast in parts and not so bad in others. Now that will be among other headlines tonight, including taking you to National Signing Day on the local level earlier this week here in Magoffin County. We'll talk about a couple of thousand points scored on behalf of some high school athletes and get you caught up on basketball scores and let everyone know where everyone is playing and who over the course of the weekend. Some indictments returned by a sitting Magoffin County grand jury. A Magoffin County woman struck and killed by an automobile last night out of state, and a major drug arrest last night and seizure on behalf of local authorities. All that and much more in what's left now of the half hour. Let me also make some quick remarks in reference to the case that I've been covering, of course, all week that I'm sure I do not need to mention at this point, which does, by the way, resume on Monday. We'll pick up coverage on that evening there. But I know that on at least the last couple of days of coverage, I kept referring to the parties involved as prosecution and defense, which would be terminology that may be correct, so to speak, but it goes along more with a criminal case, and in the case of this matter, it's a civil case. Plaintiff and respondent would have been more appropriate, so my apologies, just terminology that I'm not used to using, obviously, on the program. I'll try to take care of that aspect of the coverage when we start on Monday. We'll go from there to one of our top headlines tonight. That is a seizure and 3 arrests conducted last night by the Sagersville Police Department. Officer Jeremiah Watson tells me that he responded to a complaint of a DUI on the Mountain Parkway here in Sagersville. He found the alleged vehicle at a fueling station and approached the vehicle. During his investigation, along with some assistance from other officers, he ultimately made 3 arrests, seized over $5,000 in drugs, a vehicle, heroin, pills, and more. While he is still trying to sort out some conflicting stories on behalf of the 3 that were arrested as to where they were headed, what they were doing, and as to whether or not there was one or multiple drug buys that had taken place over the course of the evening, Watson tells me that he did make the arrest and the case is still ongoing.
I received a 911 call of an impaired driver. I found the vehicle at Marathon across from McDonald's. I walked up to the vehicle. There was 2 gentlemen in the vehicle. The back passenger was being very fidgety. I pulled him from the vehicle, and upon further investigation, we found a bunch of money, pills, marijuana, possibly heroin.
In all, Officer Watson says over $5,200 in cash seized from one of the passengers, a male in the back seat, who gave officers a name and a birth date which were a match to each other respectively, but a Social Security number which was not a match. He was lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center, one of the 3 which were arrested under the given name to authorities, who were still trying to ascertain as to whether or not that was his real identity.
We got 3 arrested, 2 male, 1 female. Charges go from trafficking first degree, down to possession of marijuana.
Arrested were a husband and wife from Oxshire. The wife told authorities she had been the one behind the wheel and driving the vehicle, which was parked at the gas station when authorities arrived. In all parts of the vehicle and on the person of at least 1 passenger, they discovered the $5,200 in cash on the suspect from Dayton, as well as several needles which were told to have contained heroin, several pills of Opana, which I've only seen on this making the 2nd traffic stop that I've covered in all my years of Your News Today reporting, and that is told to me to be one of the most harsh prescription narcotics in existence, even stronger than OxyContin, as well as a variety of other pills, paraphernalia, and marijuana. Officer Watson charged 30-year-old Pamela Branham with DUI, no insurance, no registration, nor failure to wear a seatbelt, as well as 2 counts of trafficking a controlled substance in the first, possession of marijuana, possession of a legend drug, prescription not in its proper container, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Her husband, 36-year-old Jimmy Branham of Oxshire, was charged with 2 counts of trafficking in a controlled substance, prescription of a controlled substance not in a proper container, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Their passenger, 24-year-old Breon Banks, which was the name he gave authorities, supposedly from Dayton, Ohio, was charged with trafficking in a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, prescription not in its proper container, drug paraphernalia, and giving a false name and or identity to authorities. All three were lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. As I left police last evening, Officer Watson says they were still continuing to investigate the true identity of Mr. Banks. Our next headline is a tragic one with only limited details at this hour. I started hearing reports this morning from family members of the terrible tragic death of a Magoffin County woman who was struck by a vehicle in Murray, Kentucky last evening. We do have funeral services coming up in just a few moments for the deceased, who's been identified as 25-year-old Amanda Stephanie Gibson. I've also been able to ascertain some information and the following photograph from the Murray Ledger and Times in regards to a pedestrian versus vehicle accident last night. It happened around 10 o'clock last evening, they say, on Radio Road between Alamo Heights and Dexter. At that time, all the paper was able to report was that the victim was transported to a regional trauma center by helicopter. This is what I understand and know at this time. This is a photograph, courtesy of the Murray Ledger and Times out of Murray, Kentucky. It shows a vehicle versus pedestrian accident, along with it some limited details that were reported shortly after the initial accident last night, which was around 10 or so after 10 p.m. The Callaway County Sheriff's Department told the paper that a female pedestrian, name not released at that time, was hit while apparently walking on the highway in the location I just described, as she was reportedly wearing dark clothing, which the Sheriff's Department there said may have made it harder for her to be seen by the driver of this Ford Expedition. At the time of the report to the Murray Ledger, arrangements were being made to airlift the victim to a trauma center in the region. We have since learned that also in Murray, Kentucky, believed to be related to the same accident, 25-year-old Amanda Stephanie Gibson, a resident of Jim Arnett Branch here in Sagersville, who had been living in the Murray, Kentucky area for some months now, was struck and killed by an automobile last night in Murray, Kentucky. We do know that arrangements are being made in her honor at this time on behalf of the Sagersville Funeral Home. I'll have those announced in their entirety as we have them in just a few moments, but this is believed to be the same accident which apparently has claimed the life of a young Magoffin County woman, once again identified as 25-year-old Amanda Stephanie Gibson. Several indictments have been returned by a sitting Magoffin County grand jury. We'll cover those this evening, beginning with the following. A Magoffin County woman by the name of Christy Arnett indicted on charges of possession of a controlled substance in the second degree and public intoxication. This, according to the complainant, which is Officer Jeremiah Watson with the Sagersville Police Department, comes after she entered a Sagersville business back in November, and before she left had dropped out a quantity of methamphetamine from her pocket onto the floor. Officer Jeremy Watson of the Sagersville Police Department says that Christy Arnett was indicted per a case that he responded to and is still working. It goes back to the 24th day of November. He says the local business called if they discovered what appeared to be an illegal drug lying in the floor of the establishment. Upon arrival of Officer Watson, they reviewed video surveillance tape taken on behalf, of course, of equipment inside the store, which revealed that upon entry of Christy Arnett into the establishment, before she left, a small bag or container of methamphetamine containing 0.5 grams fell from what appeared to be a pocket onto the floor, unbeknownst to her, as she left the residence. With that video evidence in hand, she has since been indicted on a charge of possession of a controlled substance in the second degree and public intoxication of a controlled substance for being under the influence of a controlled substance when she was in the public setting, believed to be under the influence of methamphetamine at that time. She is, according to Big Sandy Jail records, already lodged, as she has been since the first day, I believe, of February. It says that she was brought in by another law enforcement agency, that being the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department, on charges of failure to provide or have insurance, driving under the influence, failure to register her vehicle, possession of a legend drug, possession of a prescription not in its proper container, and promoting contraband at the facility. The grand jury also charges that a 33-year-old Crystal Bailey of Salt Lick Road in Sagersville has been indicted on charges of receiving stolen property under $10,000. Jeremiah Watson, also the investigating officer in this case, says that it relates to the burglary of a home on 114, a mobile home there, where the occupants or tenants allege that about $300 in cash, a cell phone, and some other items possibly were stolen from that residence. Watson says that upon further investigation, he went to a residence where Bailey lived, and upon obtaining entry into the residence and then into her purse, was able to gather enough evidence to ultimately charge her with the crime. She is indicted on that, receiving stolen property under $10,000. 28-year-old Joseph Minix of Sagersville was indicted on a charge of possession of marijuana and operating a motor vehicle under the influence. This is also a case under Sagersville Officer Watson. He reportedly was stopped and charged with DUI. He also reportedly had a blood alcohol content of over 0.15, which makes it, according to Kentucky law, an aggravating offense. While all indictments are not a declaration of guilt, but charges levied on behalf of the grand jury body. This grand jury in McGoffin County does charge Ernest Minix Jr. with sexual abuse in the first degree, going back to around the 1st of September in 2012, and also on another occasion in October of 2013 when he committed the offense of sexual abuse with a person he subjected to sexual contact who was under the age of 12. John Mays of Lakeville Road was indicted on charges of manufacturing methamphetamine and unlawful possession of a methamphetamine precursor, that being pseudoephedrine, as well as another phenylpropylamine, with the intent to make the drug. 3 individuals are indicted as it pertains to the same case, is my understanding. A Sabrina Shortridge, 28, of Prestonsburg, Kentucky, as well as 2 other individuals, a Tanya Brown, 43, of Wittensville, Kentucky, and a Randall Kreider of Prestonsburg, age 26. The indictment submitted by Trooper Jonathan Wall says that on around the 11th day of November of 2013, they committed the offense of possession of a controlled substance in the first degree when they possessed a quantity of controlled substance that was considered to be a Schedule 1 or 2 narcotic, acting in complicity with each of the individuals in this case. Still a great deal of headlines to come. Right now, let's find out what's happening, along with a few birthdays, on tonight's McGoffin Farm Bureau-sponsored community calendar.
Early birthday wishes to Sherry L. Howard from Allison, West Hunter, Terra, and many more from North McGoffin. Her birthday is tomorrow, but today, join me in saying happy birthday to Sherry Howard. Happy birthday to you. I've got birthday wishes for Wayne Keaton, 48 years old, with a lot of love from your wife, stepdaughters, and grandkids. Happy 48th birthday to Wayne. And it says, can you please wish Hager Cole a very happy birthday? This birthday wish, Hager, comes from Tanya, Amber, and a whole lot of family and friends. Your birthday's Saturday. You probably know that. Now everyone else does too. And this was a little bit early, but it's still a big birthday wish to a soon-to-be 8-year-old Houston O'Brien Patrick, who celebrates his birthday this Sunday. So, happy birthday wishes tonight to Houston O'Brien Patrick. Love Dad, Mom, Bubby, Jackson, and a whole lot of family and friends who love you lots. Happy birthday, too. A reminder that they're picking and a grinning this Saturday. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. at Kearney Free Will Baptist Church. Come and join them for a little picking and a little grinning. And you've also got you've got more than enough time and no excuses to kick the habit and be tobacco-free in 2015 and thereon, with a little help from the McGoffin County Health Department and the Kentucky Cancer Program. They've got a program that can help. It starts February the 13th at 3 o'clock. If you have any questions, call them at 349-6212. They just want to help. And a free bow hunters education course for anyone. Students have to be at least 9 is all. Register by going to the McGoffin County 4-H Shooting Sports Facebook page and clicking on the course link. It is going to be Saturday the 28th, but you need to get registered, and that's how you do it. You can also call the Extension Service at 349-3216 to find out more. Call me anytime you've got a birthday, special announcement, or calendar announcement. And I get announcements from all these directions and more. You can mail them, phone, fax, email, Facebook, or drop them off. If for any reason I ever miss yours, well, just let me know. Don't ever want to miss a birthday or a calendar announcement. But we do want to remind you to send them in for free, and we will get them on. With that said, we do have some funeral service announcements tonight on behalf of the McGoffin County Funeral Home. Service is to be held tomorrow beginning at 1 in honor of 78-year-old Pat Arnett.
Patrick Pat Arnott of New Lebanon, Ohio, formerly of McGoffin County, who was married to Avenel Whitaker Arnott, who preceded him in death. He's survived by sons Randall Lee, James Patrick, and Henry Neal Arnott. Visitation is this evening and prior to services once again tomorrow at 1 from the McGoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. And as I mentioned earlier, we've learned of the passing of 25-year-old Amanda Stephanie Gibson of Jim Arnott Branch in Sagersville, who passed away yesterday in Murray, Kentucky. Funeral arrangements for Ms. Gibson are incomplete at this time, but will be announced later by the Sagersville Funeral Home. Up next, let's roll back the clock to National Signing Day on the local level this past Wednesday. While I was covering another story, Chance Allen of the McGoffin County High School was nice enough to take a camera and cover the following report about a teammate signing to go on and play and get an education with Union College. I wish to thank Chance for his efforts, as well as Devin Abels and his family for inviting us along, as well as Coach Scotty McCoy of the McGoffin County High School football field, and Neil West of the McGoffin County High School, who will open ceremonies for us tonight.
We're glad everyone's here today for a special occasion for Devin. Devin has decided that he's going to further his education and his football skills at Union College. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Coach McCoy and let him say a few words about Devin.
Union, they couldn't send a representative today to speak on their behalf, but I keep up with them. They're really excited to have Devin. They've recruited him throughout his high school career. Devin had a great year. If I'm not mistaken, he was not only the leading receiver of our team, he was also the 3A state leading receiver, which is a great accomplishment. He is the definition of hard work. We're proud to see him continue his football and his educational career. Devin, you want to say anything?
No.
No, not really. No, Daddy. Y'all want to say anything? No? Cece, we don't care? Go ahead and sign your name on. Devin is my first signee as me being a head coach. He's going to Union College. It's a very big day for he and his family. As he's going to get to pursue his dream of playing college football and also getting a education from Union. We're very excited to send him to a great school as in Union. Devin had a fantastic year. As I said during his signing, he's the definition of success, of hard work and willingness to learn and get better. He was our leading receiver this past year with around 1,200 and some yards. He was a 3A state receivings leader. He was finished third out of all classes, I think, in receiving yards, which is a great feat. Him and Dalton Keaton, they will always hold the state record for the longest touchdown pass as 99 yards against Allen Central. He's a very good kid. Union getting a spectacular player and just an overall good kid.
I'm glad to be furthering my education to College of Union. It's an excellent school. They have excellent coaches there. It's been an excellent high school career. I mean, I worked my butt off for, especially the senior year. I mean, knowing it's my last year, and it led to great things when you work as hard as you can. And it's been a great experience. And I've had great coaches all 4 years, and I can't wait to further my education.
Now let's switch gears and roll from the pigskin to a little round ball on the hardwood, and that is tonight covering 2,000 points and counting on behalf of two McGoffin County High School students who were both recognized for their efforts on the court in the past few days. Among other accomplishments on junior guard Jazzy Howard's resume are that she's been on the regional all-tournament team and a member of the district all-tournament team, on which she also scored a quadruple double. While her back is to the cameras while she received her award, she was hard to see them, but after being recognized for her 1,000 points accumulated thus far into her career, she would come up with a steal and be easily visible as she goes from A to B to build on her next 1,000 points with a nice bounce off the glass, and after unselfishly passing back out the ball, she ends up with the rebound to add 2 more.
Well, good job.
Those shots, along with this 2 from Leslie Howard and this big 3 by Alexis Montgomery, were all part of a Friday night win over the Lady Tigers. Counting this deuce by Paintsville's number 2, Elizabeth Williams, the final score was 52-38 in favor of Magoffin County. And another Hornet recognized in the last few days for 1,000 points on the court, sophomore guard Trenton Russell, who was recognized before the crowd and his teammates last night during the Magoffin County-Breathitt County matchup for an accomplishment he actually completed during, I believe, the December 29th June Buchanan game. But recognized last night, he continues to build on that 1,000-point score. And the Magoffin County Hornets are also, for the boys team, are coming into a 3-game home stretch on the 12th, the 13th, and on the 19th. Their last 3 home games of the season will be there, making up for some lost time with the boys, and hope you are as well, as we continue to see them play on through the remainder of the regular season schedule. But for now, a sincere congratulations to both Jazzy Howard and Trenton Russell for 1,000 points and counting in their high school basketball careers. Now to get caught up on high school basketball around the viewing area, the Eagles victorious over Paintsville 74-56. That game last night, a home game for Central. That puts the Golden Eagles at 17-8 right now, 10-2 and 4-2 in district play as we're into the home stretch for regular season play. Puts them at Pike Central Tuesday of next week. They've got the weekend and night off as the Johnson Central Golden Eagles are sitting second only behind Betsy Lane in 15th Region boys basketball. For the Lady Eagles of Johnson Central, a win over Boyd County by 2. They squeaked one out 42-44 on the night of the third Tuesday night of this week. They're above half. They're at 13-10, 6-3 in regional play, and they're even in district action as of right now. They are hosting the Lady Hornets of Magoffin County tonight. You're looking for something to do? There it is. Tip-off set for 7:30 over at Central. And speaking of Magoffin County, we'll begin with the boys. The Hornets and their coach, Robbie Russell, dropped one by 2 last night in a close one, in a high-scoring game, 72-70 here at home, 9-16 on the season. 1 win, 4 losses in district play. They've still got a few games left. They're hosting Prestonsburg, even though I have Prestonsburg misspelled. Next Thursday, tip-off set for 7:30. They've got home games the 12th, 13th, and 19th for the boys. For the Lady Hornets, we'll switch on over and switch gears to Coach Castle and his girls. A win over Paintsville, as we've already covered to some degree, 52-38. The Lady Hornets are even on the season, 10 wins, 10 losses, and they're one up in district play at 3-2. That puts them at, as we already said, at Central tonight at 7:30. In Tiger basketball, Coach Runyon and his boys 15-8 right now after a loss to Central. We already talked about that, 56-74. They are even in district action at 3-3, even in regional play as well, 7 apiece. And they're also at Betsy Lane. They're off for tonight and the weekend at Lane Tuesday night. Tip-off, of course, 7:30. The Tiger action 62-53, the final score over East Ridge on the night of the 4th. That was Wednesday of this week. They're one up. 10 wins, 9 losses. They're hosting Sheldon Clark tonight at 7:30. Checking in on Matthew Perry and his Cougars of Morgan County, another win, 59-49. Morgan County is having a good go of it this season with only 5 losses in Region 16 basketball. They are sitting behind Rowan Boyd and Elliott County in the 4th spot with those 15 wins. Their most recent win over East Carter by 10 also puts them hosting Nicholas County tomorrow night at 7:30. And for the Lady Cougars, they've had kind of the opposite of the season for them. A loss to Lewis County, 49-74. 4 wins and 16 losses. They're hosting West Carter tonight at 7:30. And we'll put the lid on this one by turning to our friends at Licking Valley RECC for your forecast for tonight, which has got partly cloudy skies, a low of 20 degrees, and a very light south-southwest wind. This was after, as I look to see, 41 degrees today, and it felt about like 41, and we started off just as predicted at 8 degrees this morning. I have no more single digits in your forecast. In fact, what I do have is a Saturday that continues to shape up into the 50s, maybe upper 50s for some, and it's going to be so close to 60, let's just say, hey, 60 for some. For the viewing area, I've got an estimated 54, 55 degrees, not too shabby. Full of sunshine, some southwest winds, 5 to 20 mile per hour gusts at times. Will be a little breezy, It's going to be a nice day to get out and stretch your legs, and a low well above freezing on tomorrow night. Saturday is nice. Sunday, not so much. Clear skies Saturday night will be replaced Sunday with some clouds. We'll see partly sunny skies at the onset for Sunday. Temperature still in the mid-50 range, but we'll see a 20% chance of showers mainly after 1 o'clock. That chance of rain increases, as does Sunday progresses, and we'll see a 50% chance of rain late. We'll see winds gusting upwards of 6 to 15 miles per hour at times, and that chance of rain will lead in on over to your work week, starting off Monday with a 40% chance of rain. Temperatures 43 Monday, 41 Tuesday, 52 Wednesday. We'll see another peak, and then we fall back down to the 30s thereafter. All in all, average pretty much or above weather conditions. For now, that's my time. As always, a sincere thank you for being a part of our program. A blessing to have you each and every night with us. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we hope to see you back here next week for more of Your News Today. Trial coverage will resume on Your News Today. Complete coverage only on Your News Today when we see you next time. For now, thank you, and have a good night.